to talk about this if you don't want to, but it came up not all that long ago when you were talking about on your Twitch stream about just the that you went through and talking about that the infamous sex scene of you and Edge on Raw, and just what that whole process of. Do you want to talk about this or no? I mean, it doesn't need to be like headline bull. I don't. It's
yeah, and then that's what's happened is it became headline stuff, and I looked at Twitch always as my clubhouse, and also I never like breaking any stories there. I had talked about that I was not cool with doing that. Like I've talked about that since 2005, and it just never made any headlines. But now since we've fortunately evolved as a climate and society, it was like shocking, just not that long ago. But yeah, my story's never changed.
Yeah.
It's Jay Coffee on the vid, and we got some crazy breaking news here, some disturbing breaking news. That was Lita. I know a lot of y'all probably remember her. She dated one of the Hardys, Edge, and you hear her speaking about a real cringy, weird segment that went on in WWE a while back. What was that, 05, 06, somewhere in that time frame. And I remember this because I remember my father-in-law, who's a lifetime pro wrestling fan, and I've always been a wrestling fan as well, being like, what is this ish? You know what I'm saying? And he knew that WWE had started pushing the envelope with edgier content, and he was like, kids still watch this. This is garbage, man. This is wrong. This shouldn't be on TV. And it was a segment that was literally called Live X Celebration, where obviously it got interrupted. I think for those that remember, John Cena interrupted and started attacking Edge as they were feuding at the time, but Edge had just had a big win. I think he had the title, and the way they were putting it out was they were gonna bang right there on Monday Night Raw. They lingerie, a bed was in the middle of the ring. It was just real cringy and weird, like comment all the fans out there. I was like, this is garbage, really. Let's keep it a buck. And basically she had said that Vince McMahon threatened to fire her if she didn't take part in that storyline, and it's pretty twisted, pretty weird, pretty disturbing. Like I said, I just always was like, this ain't right, get this out of here, but if you guys haven't heard, man, the news, it's like Vince McMahon, it's something similar as to what happened and is happening with Diddy, as we see the downfall of Diddy in real time every day. It's all hitting the news. If y'all don't remember, you don't really follow the hip-hop news, Diddy settled an actual assault lawsuit with all kinds of really disturbing, weird, creep type allegations with this girl Cassie that he used to go with the day it was set to hit court, in hopes to cover it all up. But the news still got wind of it, and Diddy has been sued by a few other women with very bizarre, disturbing allegations as well, similar lawsuits. And he eventually, after a bunch of time passed, responded to it and was like, oh, it's all false, I'm gonna fight it to the death of me. I'm paraphrasing, not quoting, but it's like, if you're gonna fight it all and it's all this and that, why did you settle before it even hit court, in hopes to cover it all up and have an NDA? And what's going on with old Vinnie Mac here is there was a scandal, what was it now, like over a year ago, where, it got exposed, which it seemed at the time that he had an affair, right, with a girl that he hired through WWE, as it's a public company. And I believe he was the chairman, and he had this affair with this girl that he hired, basically gave her a made-up job and, paid her a bunch of money. Vince is old as hell now, this girl's younger. I'm not sure her exact age as you're seeing her picture. Her name is Janelle Grant. And more or less, they had the affair, and as time went on, they split. He ended up, I guess, letting her go and paying her, I think, a few million in hush money. And it came out that he used money from WWE. And, when this got exposed, he ended up getting pushed out of the chairman position. Sorry, y'all. And somehow later he ended up pulling a play and getting back in with WWE and everything like that, which didn't surprise me because Vince McMahon is that kind of guy that always wants to get his way and seemingly finds a way. Where there's a will, there's a way, and he'll do whatever he's got to do. It's crazy, you know, because I've always been a pro wrestling fan, and so much too with Linda, his wife, getting into the world of politics and her being implicated in this. Not really, but that she knew about this and discovered that this was going on. And, you know, it's just kind of like they seem like that kind of political family where there's weird allegations and things that have been covered up, and there's creepy stuff about the family and things of that nature, and the couple might not even really be together, but they just stay like they're together. I'm using air quotes for their image and everything like that. Kind of like how a lot of people feel about Bill and Hillary Clinton, that they're not really together. And, you know, Bill has a long history, which one we know, Monica Lewinsky, but other stuff like that Bill F's around. Well, originally it only seemed like Vinnie Mac paid this girl hush money and, you know, got exposed for it, that it was just an affair, and he got in trouble for that. And not that that's right, you know, it's morally wrong to cheat on your wife. But Vinnie Mac, just like Diddy, had NDAs in place and things of that nature to cover this up from ever coming out to the world. And that's what happened until it was leaked out. Well, now, you know, it leaked out. Vince got pushed out. He pushed his way back in through some loophole or something like that. But, and it seeming like it was going to blow over. Well, now this girl, this former employee that he had the affair with, or whatever you want to call it, has said Vince McMahon violated the NDA, and she's brought forth a new lawsuit with very, very disturbing, twisted allegations. Some of it is similar to Diddy, different in other ways, but all creepy and all just very sick and twisted. And I don't know, it's just all bad. And, you know, WWE recently merged with UFC, and it's called TKO, I believe, as the parent company, or whatever the proper language is. Comment and let me know if I'm wrong or whatever. But TKO is looking like they're gonna ish-can Vince, I think, because they're saying he's a liability with all this hanging over his head. As some people feel there might even be criminal charges brought up, and it's just sick.
Lance.
Yeah, look, I was one of the few that said he needed to be gone when the story first broke. And I was outspoken against him being allowed back into the office, being allowed back at shows when he came back. And when he came back, I stopped watching the product and only just recently started seeing some of the shows out of necessity. Like, this is, you know, when you were reading the account of how this started, it's like, that's classic sexual predator stuff. Find someone down on their luck and start grooming them and bending them to your will. Like, not only should he be booted off the board, take his keys to the office away, bar him from going to shows, and I think there needs to be a legitimate cleaning house of anyone who covered anything up, who knew about this. Like, this is absolutely disgustingly horrible, and he needs to be gone and done. And I hope there's criminal charges brought if any of this is even remotely true, which, with there being so many NDAs and a long list of things, it's like I can't fathom how it isn't.
That was Lance Storm. I'm sure a lot of wrestling fans, or even casual wrestling fans, may remember Lance Storm. He was in WCW, WWE, ECW. Proud Canadian, good, solid wrestler, and just known as an all-around good guy. He was Chris Jericho's tag team partner early on. And you heard him. He's saying it's twisted. And again, I'm paraphrasing, but anyone who knew of this and helped covered it up in any way needs to pay. And I don't know, the way he was speaking of this almost kind of gave me the impression that he doesn't really fluck with Vince, and he had bad vibes about Vince, and maybe there's stuff that he knows, or, you know, is in the know or has heard and feels that certain things are fact. As you know, the pro wrestling world is a crazy world and its own subculture and own community and stuff like that. And you know, there's word that there's a lot of things that go on in pro wrestling that doesn't always make its way out, as it's a tough company for guys to get on and make money. And when they make it to the big leagues with WWE, you know, like they could be here today, fired, and Ishkan tomorrow. And, you know, we've even seen Vince McMahon do egomaniac stuff, like bury people with storylines and stuff that humiliate them, even going as far as racist storylines to humiliate people. I'm sure you guys remember that whole Booker T thing. That was twisted, and in the end they didn't even have him win. Not that it was right either way, but they, you know, did all this, you know, just messed up racist storylines and then had him lose at a major pay-per-view. Either way, it was wrong. Again, to have them lose on top of it is even more evil. But anyone, before I continue on out there, that may have tuned into my pro wrestling channel before, I've been locked out of that channel, and I got another channel we're trying to build up. It's slow motion, so I'm going to share that new channel below, and comment and let me know if you ever tuned into that pro wrestling channel. You know, this was a huge story though we had to break on this J Coffee Talk main channel. But man, this lawsuit is so sick, so twisted. But let's get into the lawsuit and some of the allegations. And you know, Janelle Grant, this woman, just, you know, is speaking in the lawsuit, alleging that when she met Vince McMahon, Vince made her promises of a job and showered her with gifts during meetings that were supposed to be about the job. He greeted her in his drawers and repeatedly asked for hugs. Then he pressured her into actual activities in return for employment and warned her to stay quiet about their interaction. So you heard Lance Storm talking about grooming, and once again, it really felt like Lance not just believed this, but had a strong reason to believe, you know? And then it said she began working at WWE in 2019 as an administrator coordinator, a position McMahon created for her in WWE's legal department. She said she expressed concerns that the job felt unearned, but Vince told her that all she needed to do was not tell anyone and that it just has to look legit. Colleagues complained about overflowing inboxes, but Grant had little work. So inboxes is coming in, all kinds of work in the to-do pile. She's not doing any work. People are like, hey, what the fuck's going on with this girl? And people realize she wasn't really working there. It was just for show. And Vince is telling her, man, just act like you work here. Don't worry about it. You know, it just really sounds like grooming. And again, this is allegedly. We got to make that clear. And then it says McMahon allegedly sent her explicit messages and actual demands increased. And then she alleges that he forcefully used toys on her, and some of them were named after wrestlers. How twisted and weird is that, guys? Causing bruising and bleeding. And she alleged that she complained to Vince and made attempts to end the relationship. She alleged that McMahon and another executive locked her in an office in WWE headquarters, Stamford, Connecticut, and took turns assaulting her while other people were working. In the middle of another workday on June 23rd, 2021, again, this is allegedly, Vince locked Grant inside his private locker room at WWE's offices and forced himself on her over a massage table. Later that day, allegedly, McMahon's personal assistant delivered $15K in Bloomingdale's gifts and cards to Grant in her office. The suit also includes screenshots, some evidence of explicit messages that McMahon had texted, and a convo from May 2020 that said, "I'm the only one who owns you and controls you and controls who I want to F you." So again, kind of similar to Diddy, where there's other people involved in voyeurism and I don't know, just some real disturbing stuff. Comment, everyone, share your thoughts about this, you know. And with Vince, the image that he has, it's not hard to believe this stuff. And again, this is all allegations at this point. I want to know what everyone thinks, but do you guys feel me on that Vince is kind of, without elaborating too much, it just, I don't know, this isn't hard to believe. I guess I'll leave it at that. And then she alleges that McMahon shared explicit photos and videos of her without her consent with other employees, unnamed executives and stars, and directed her to have relations with them. The suit cited a July 2020 text that said others at WWE wanted to have sex with her after seeing the photos. And this is disturbing here. You know, she's saying Vince is showing videos and photos of her and their relations and things like that. And other people are saying, oh, let me get in on that. It's creepy. You know, again, allegations, though. We got to be clear about that. But she alleges Vince said she may scream and try to say no, although it would be difficult to say anything with, and we'll, you know, fill in the blank. I'm sure you can picture what what was said there. And then John Laurinaitis, that's Johnny Ace, right? He's worked for WWE for a long time. He's accused. And guys, there's a beloved UFC/WWE star implicated in this, not by name. You know, we're talking about Brock, but referred to as, that he is a wrestler and a UFC star. I mean, sounds like Brock Lesnar to me, right? And, Vince, Brock Lesnar, reported to have a father and son-like relationship. You know, and a lot of people will point out over the years, man, Vince McMahon has had some very bizarre storylines that he wasn't, worried about. Like, he had very weird storylines with his family, you know, where someone, Triple H, who later on did marry Stephanie McMahon, derugged her and drove her through a drive-through wedding chapel in Vegas. You know, it was a storyline. Her being kidnapped by a satanic cult, and then Vince McMahon in the end being the one giving that satanic cult orders. You know, there's like, this guy's had some really wild storylines. And like I said, man, I've been a wrestling fan all my life. This ish is twisted to hear, you know. But let me know, what do you guys think? This is true or what? Let's see here. McMahon recruited people to have relations, allegedly, with Grant as well, including John Laurinaitis, as we just stated, who is named as a defendant in the suit. McMahon directed her to visit Laurinaitis at his hotel rooms where they had relations, allegedly, prior to the start of workdays. McMahon controlled her professional and personal lives and subjected her to degradation, according to the suit. In June 2021, allegedly there was an encounter inside a WWE office, and she alleges that McMahon and Laurinaitis both took turns forcing themselves on her. Very twisted stuff. And again, do y'all see the similarity with Diddy, as we were talking about? And I wouldn't be surprised if more allegations surface against Vince McMahon. You know, back when the allegations and what was just hitting the news was that Vince McMahon had an affair, which again is morally not right, you know. But this is a whole nother level of not right and downright evil, these allegations, if they are indeed true. But there was word that there's been other women in the past paid off. And, a lot of the stuff with Diddy, there had always been rumors and things like that and allegations. And then we've seen him, after settling that lawsuit, again, in attempts to cover it up, paying her hush money, more women have come out and sued. I wonder if that will happen with McMahon. And again, if possibly criminal charges will be brought up. And then in 2021, This is the stuff that sounds like it's definitely talking about Brock Lesnar. The suit said McMahon instructed Grant to create personalized, actual content for a WWE superstar that he was trying to re-sign. The suit didn't name the professional wrestler, but described him as both a UFC fighter and WWE talent. People familiar with the matter identified the wrestler as Brock Lesnar, one of the WWE's biggest names. The suit said McMahon shared the explicit content with the star and informed Grant that he likes what he sees. And after he agreed to re-sign, McMahon texted Grant in August 21 to say that part of the deal was effing you. So she's alleging that Brock Lesnar, Vince was trying to re-sign him, trying to pitch him, hey, negotiate a deal, and he coerced her into creating an actual video to show to Brock, and Brock ends up wanting to re-sign, but part of the deal is that she has to have relations with him. What do you guys think about this comment? Do you believe this to be true? Do you think criminal charges will be brought up? This is crazy, man. That December, McMahon gave Grant a personal cell phone number to the WWE star, to Brock. The wrestler asked her to send a video of herself, URINATING, GOLDEN shower type stuff, y'all. Creepy. And the suit said, and after she did, he called her B word. In that same month, the star expressed a desire sorry, y'all. I don't know. Let's continue on. After Grant signed the NDA, she got paid $1 million or whatever, and then he stopped making payments. And then she signed the NDA. McMahon continued the abuse, according to the suit. Again, all allegedly. And it's alleged that he forced Grant to perform ORAL on him the last time they met, and then attempted to traffic her to the WWE star in March 2022. And allegedly she texted Brock explicit photos directed by McMahon, but they didn't meet. So you hear trafficking, and when state lines are crossed in this kind of stuff has allegedly happened, that meets the criteria for trafficking. And again, talks of possible criminal case. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens, but the feds get involved in these types of investigations. And let's not forget, Vince McMahon had a Fed case before and beat the feds with the whole steroid thing. And I don't know if any of those prosecutors or anyone involved in the feds that tried to put him away back then are still on the job. But I don't think it's a stretch for one of them to say, oh, Vinnie Mac, you think you got away back then, now we're going to lock you up and throw away the key, and you're going to be tagged an offender for life. I mean, I'm serious, man. And then it talks about how he stepped down when this stuff got leaked, as I was speaking about before, and that he pulled a power play to regain his spot as the executive chairman of WWE and repaid the company for the cost of the investigations. So out of pocket, he had to reimburse the company because, again, this was a publicly traded company. He's just spending money right out the till, if you will, or whatever. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but he paid it back, found that loophole to get himself back in, that chairman seat. And a lot of individuals, fans of wrestling, myself included, aside from all these allegations and this real twisted stuff, have all also felt that when Vince McMahon was further away from the product, Triple H was better creatively with WWE, but like he just can't step down. Like he doesn't want to let it go. That's why I was surprised to see him even do this whole deal with UFC and TKO and Endeavor or whatever it's called. But you never know. Maybe he had got wind that this suit was going to be coming out, and that's why he made that move then. It kind of makes sense to me. Let me know if you agree. And, you know, it goes on to talk about the internal investigation, intentionally tried to focus on the financials of the matter in order to shift the focus off McMahon's misconduct. Grant alleged that the company diverted attention away from McMahon's abuse by focusing on the accounting for payouts. Others at WWE knew about McMahon's misconduct, but worked to conceal the wrongdoing, according to the suit. And, you know, with what was being said by Lance Storm, and, you know, about people, if they knew about this and didn't do something, even if they didn't actively do stuff to cover it up, by pretty much not putting it out there, you know, they are in the wrong themselves. And, you know, I don't know if he flat out said should be prosecuted, but what do you guys think? Did Triple H know about this stuff? You know, who leaked this stuff out? Whoever did indeed wanted to see Vince pay. You know, I wonder if we'll ever find out about that, as I believe that was a Wall Street Journal article that broke this news, man. But I don't know, very twisted, disturbing stuff. Like I said, a lot of similarities to the Diddy situation that is ongoing. TKO Endeavor Sports, or whatever the name of the company with the merger, they flat out said Vince is a liability, as I already stated. I don't know if there's some way that they can just totally cut and sever ties with him. But once again, this is all allegedly at this point, but is most definitely disturbing allegations. And again, I don't know if there'll be a criminal investigation, as you know, there was you know, confirmed to be evidence as far as the videos and stuff like that. Brock Lesnar's name in the mix, John Laurinaitis, trafficking allegations. It's crazy, you know. As we pointed out, similar with the whole Diddy thing, like I stated, Diddy tried to settle and did settle with the NDAs to cover this whole thing up, but word still got out to the news, which is like what's going on here. And it's just so crazy that even with the NDAs, and you heard Lance Storm referencing the NDAs and all that, and all the steps that old Vinnie Mac seemingly took to keep this from ever getting out. It's wild that even when word did leak out, you know, it was just more or less like, oh, he had an affair. And again, I'm not saying that's all right, but that is way different than what is, you know, being alleged here. Straight up Nashville Predators type ish. So, you know, it's just crazy, and it makes you think in a lot of other situations what kind of stuff gets covered up in other instances, or, you know, with this company, with Vinnie Mac in the past. It's wild, you know. There's always a method when you see people leak stuff. Sometimes it's done, you know, it's just done for different strategical reasons. But if these allegations are indeed true, it seems someone might have been doing it to bury Vince McMahon, but also just to see some kind of justice go down. I don't know. But jump in the comments, share your thoughts. Stay tuned for updates. Don't forget to sub up. This is Jay Coffee Talk, where we talk music, news, sports, current events, life, and much, much more. And again, comment and let me know if you ever tuned into my wrestling channel that I am locked out of. We got to get back up in that thing. Feel like we would have definitely been at 1K by now. But I'm going to share the link to my new channel that, again, is Slow Motion. So if you're a pro wrestling fan, make sure to sub up over there as we talk a lot of pro wrestling, old wrestling, new wrestling, and everything in between. I'm out of here. Peace.